Welcome back, guys. It's craft time. In today's video, we're going to be using the Buff and Rub. I've seen many of the DIY and crafty creators using this on their channels just to give some of their pieces a little extra pop. I'm very excited to try this out today for you guys, give you an honest review, and let you guys know if you should make this purchase as well. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so I went on Amazon and I purchased a set of 3 of the Buff and Rub colors. I have a gold leaf, I have a silver leaf, and then I have this antique gold. And I got all 3 and they're almost like spray paint in a paste, if that makes sense. So I wanted just to try out several different colors to see how they work, and I want to use them on different materials. Now, to start with this, I had picked 3 items. And then I also give a couple other items to try on as well. From what I've seen, many people use them on wood and metal. So in today's video, I'm going to be using this metal container that I was given just to do whatever with. I'm going to be using this plastic skull from the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to be using this little clay doggy pot that I picked up at the Target dollar spot. The colors that I've picked for each are the silver for the metal box, the antique gold for the skeleton head, and the gold leaf for the puppy dog. So let's start with the metal. Now, from what I've read, you don't have to do any type of prep work for this, well, other than like obviously clean your typical cleaning, wiping things down, sanding, like if it's a smooth metal. They suggested that you sand it down, but as far as prep work, I mean, you don't have to put on any type of like primer or anything to get it to stick. So I just went in with a sander and I gave it a good light sanding all over this box because it is very smooth metal. And then I began. So make sure that you're wearing gloves. One, if it comes through your rag and gets all over your fingers, it's not the easiest to get off, but 2, you won't be leaving fingerprints all over your item if you have to move your hand or adjust to hold it on a part that you've already rubbed the paste onto. I say paste, it's called I think they call it a wax. Yeah, they call it a wax metallic finish. So I apologize. But anyway, so I have my gloves on, and then one thing that none of the people that I have watched have mentioned, you need to make sure you're in a ventilated area. Again, I'm comparing this to like spray paint in a bottle, like a condensed spray paint. It smells like spray paint. It is very potent. I just opened my windows, turned a fan on, and was having the vents come through, but I just want you to be very aware of that because it's not something that I was expecting when I opened this bottle. So keep that in mind, please. If you have like a good mask, go ahead and wear that too. So yeah, get yourself a good rag. I have like these microfiber rags. I think I just picked these up at the Dollar Tree, honestly. So you can get something, but you're most likely not going to be using it again. So keep that in mind as well. I just opened it up. The cap has the little pointer on it to help open the container. And then you're ready to start. Now with the silver, I just put a little bit on the rag. And then started rubbing it on after I had sanded and wiped it clean. And I just did that around, and it's not covering super well. I'm having some issues with this being a little runny. I got it mixed up the best I could inside the tube, but it didn't cover super well. It's very smooth surface. It's kind of, moving around on me a lot, but I'm going to do one coat. I'm going to let it sit overnight, and then I'm going to come back to it and see if we can do a second coat and if that helps. I waited till the next day. I went ahead, put some on the rag, and went in to do the second one. And as I was applying the second coat, it was completely wiping off the first coat. So as it got moisture on it again, it was literally just wiping clean. So that was not going to work. I wanted to see if there was a way to fix this. So I went ahead and I didn't really have anything else metal that would work well, but I did have some Dollar Tree little metal leaves that I had taken off signs previously that I redid in a different way, and I kept those, so I'm going to use those. So what I did is I took one, and it already had like a slight like paint tint over it. I rubbed it on there and it worked beautifully. It was flawless. On the second one that didn't have any type of coat or anything on it, again, it was just kind of smeared around, very streaky, not covering very well. So I did go ahead and use my Rust-Oleum 2X primer in clear matte, and I sprayed one of the other leaf that's identical to the one that was having problems. I went out, I sprayed that, I let that dry, and then I applied it, and it worked fantastic. It covered so much well. Whoa, it covered so much better because it actually had something to stick to and to hold on to. So even though they don't suggest it or say that it's not needed, at least from the research that I did, I'm going to suggest to you, if you have a really smooth metal or a really shiny metal, that you should probably go ahead and give it some type of primer on it. That way it has something to stick to. Maybe you could achieve the same look eventually, but I think it's going to save you a lot of product and a lot of frustration if you just go ahead, hit it with some of that sealant on there, and then apply the wax. So it covers beautifully when it has something to stick to. Nice and shiny. I will say I feel like it's not quite as shiny with the primer that I used. I mean, it is covering it up, but again, I used a matte, so I don't know if that plays into anything, but worked great. So I took the box outside, I sprayed it with that same Rust-Oleum 2X primer, and then I tried again, and it covered almost immediately. I'm not doing a second coat of it in this video because there are some spots where you can tell I missed when I was spray painting. I did it in the dark outside, so I'm going to go back and fix those on my own time. I'm not really using this box for a specific project. It was just more of an item to use to practice on. So eventually I will go back in with a second coat, and I don't think I'm going to have any issues with it covering. Like I said, the way that it was covering changed drastically after I put that clear spray paint on. So that's my suggestion for any shiny metal. Like I said, it's a personal preference. It worked for me, so that's what I'm going with. And then for the next project, I'm going to be doing the plastic. So I have this plastic skull that I thought would look really cool with the antique gold on it. So I didn't do anything to prep this other than just wipe it down to make sure there's no dust, grime, glue, glitter, whatever. It's been sitting in my craft room, so who knows what it's collected. So I just went straight in with my rag. I put some of it on the rag and then smear it around and just kind of rub it in. It says if you want it to adhere really well, I didn't do this on the smooth metal, obviously, because there's nothing really to like push it down into, if that makes sense. But with this one, with the skull, it kind of has like those bumps and crevices and things. So I, pushed pretty decently. I put some pressure on it just to really get it down in those little divots and things to make sure it was sticking really well, and it covered beautifully on this plastic. It wasn't really sliding around too much or giving me any issue. I did do 2 coats on this. I went back after it had dried, and there was just some little patchy areas, which depending on your project, that might look great. Honestly, for this skull, it wouldn't look bad, because if you think about the skull, and if it's just sitting there for a while, it's probably gonna not be aged all at the same time or like look a little different and patchy. But I will say with the second coat, you don't use near as much. That first coat, you're getting good coverage, you're covering everything, you're getting in all the crevices and creases. With the second coat, you're literally just maintaining and getting rid of all of those patches. So I used a fraction of what I did the first time. So don't worry about using too much product. If you did want to go in a second time, you're not going to use near as much. I think it's beautiful. I love the tone of it and the shine of it and everything about how that turned out. And then I moved ahead and went ahead and did the clay dog, which he's super cute. He's like a little flower plant. And I did the gold leaf on him, and I started applying the first coat, and it was covering pretty well, really pretty, but again, still kind of patchy. I kind of like that look. However, like I said, I'm trying to review this for you guys and give you my honest feedback. So I did go in after he had dried with a second coat on him. Again, it didn't take near as much. It really brought out the shine and added just a little extra pop of that metallic to it. Covered up those patchy areas, and it looks really, really good. So like I said, that second coat didn't take near as much. If it's still kind of like, it still has a little bit of like, I wouldn't say patchy, but like you can tell just some different tones to it. I'm sure if I put on a third coat that would make all of that go away, because it covers very, very well. but I liked the way it looked. It kind of looked aged and beautiful. So I went ahead and finished him up, and I decided to put some floral, oh, what's it called? Some floral, whatever this stuff is. I'm drawing a blank. I use this stuff all the time. Floral foam. That was difficult. Anyway, so I cut some of that down, put it in, and then I have some succulents that I just put in the back of him, and he is beautiful and adorable, and I love him. Now, for any of these, I did not seal them in anything. It said that you're not needed to seal it or put a sealant on it. You can, I guess, if you just want a little bit of extra reassurance, but from what I saw, it's not needed. That this stuff holds up really great. Obviously, you're still able to scratch it. So like, especially like on the smooth metal, if you scratch it, you're gonna scratch it off. It wasn't, built into it. So just keep that in mind. A sealant might help a little bit. Also keep in mind though, if I were to use my matte spray on it, it probably will take away a little bit of that shine. So just keep those things in mind. I am not going to seal my pieces. I'm just going to kind of see how it holds up and yeah, see if it lives up to its words. But I think it turned out beautiful. I really, really like this product. They have, I think, 12 different colors that you can check out. Now, I know people also use it on wood. So I took this little leaf that I had that had broken off another piece, and I did the antique gold and the silver on each side. I literally did one thin coat, and this is a nice piece of smooth wood, so I didn't have to sand it down or anything. It was already just ready to go. It covered so beautiful. It was super easy. It's just beautiful. So it has a really good shine to it on the wood. I don't have to worry about it really like coming off or scratching or peeling up because it's like in, really good coverage and everything. I also took a fabric leaf from some of my like faux flowers that I have, and I was just really curious because if you like spray paint something or especially like on fabric, it could absorb at different times and like be light in some spots, dark in some spots. It can dry to where it's crunchy and do it. So I just wanted to kind of see what it would do if you wanted to like make a flower gold or something, and rubbed it all on there. It took it in really well. Again, this could just be the specific leaf that I used, but it took it in really well. It covered really well. It's now dry, so you can see it's nice and shiny. All this like random weird stuff on this leaf has nothing to do with the product. This was literally just an old worn out leaf that has some hot glue and stuff on it from previous projects that I think I just probably ripped it off because I didn't like it on there. But I even covered the plastic stem. I've like rubbed on it a lot. Nothing is coming off. It is not crunchy at all. Like I can completely scrunch it up and it just goes back to its shape. So if you wanted to use it on fabric, I honestly think that it would do pretty well or hold up pretty well. I don't know. So just a suggestion. Like I said, I just wanted to try it on a few different things and kind of give you guys an idea how you could use it. I definitely plan to use it again. It's beautiful. And I mean, I have so much left. So my antique gold is almost completely full. The other two are a lot more empty, but I think that's because they weren't mixed up really well still. Like the antique gold held the paste really well. The other two, when I opened them, they were really fluidy at first. And so even though I put the cap on and tried to like smush them together and mix them up in there so that they aren't separated anymore and get back to that thick paste, I wasn't able to do that successfully. So I feel like I did waste a lot of the, like when it separated, a lot of that liquid came out of there, and so I feel like I used more than I should have had to. I think that's probably just the nature of it. Like most life things, when they're sitting there for a while, they do separate and you have to mix them back together, and I didn't really have a good way of doing that. So I still have a ton left. I can probably do, just from one bottle, probably a good 7 to 10 other projects with it, depending on their size. So I think it's great and worth the money. I do have an affiliate link below that show you the 3 that I bought, and then I can also link to some other colors if you're interested in giving some other colors a try. like I said, I have nothing but positive things to say about it, other than the fact that it does smell a lot. Like, it's a very, very potent, like, as if you spray painted inside a small room with no ventilation. So just please keep that in mind, so that you do it in a safe environment, you know, no children around, good ventilation, preferably outside if you can. I was not able to. It was nighttime, it was cold, and it was raining, so that wasn't going to work for me. But yeah, I have nothing bad to say. If you guys have any questions, specific questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. Or if you have something you want me to try, like, that you need me to kind of test out for you, since I already have the product, I'm, you know, completely willing to try out different materials. So just let me know in the comments below. Let me know which one was your favorite project. I know which one is my favorite. It barks, okay? He's so cute. I love how he turned out. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video and this content. Consider subscribing to my channel if you're new here. If you're returning, thank you so much. I love you a ton. I'm going to take you guys in for a closer look, and I'll see you next time.